Daniel Miller here. I just bought a used motorcycle, 2009 Honda Shadow 750, and I am working on getting a new vlog started on our channel, Retire Rich or Poor. Since I can't make it to the Philippines as of right now, we're going to be going ahead and doing some Moto vlogs, showing you different towns and different information about areas in the United States. We're starting out here, small towns in West Texas. So what we're going to do today is we are taking a trip to Tahoka, Texas. It's a very small town. It's got some interesting things on the way, so we're going to continue with our trip and that, and let's go ahead and enjoy it and see what's happening. As we're driving, let me kind of talk a little bit about my history. In 2016, I was in Midland, Texas, and I had a Ford Expedition. It was just really burning up the gas. I was driving back and forth from Midland and Odessa, probably about 3 times a day at the most, definitely 2 times a day. So I wanted to try to get something a little more economical, so I traded that in, bought a Honda Fit 2016. It did me great in that, but for some reason I just kind of got itchy boots and decided I'm going to go ahead and sell that. So last year, towards the fall, I went ahead and I sold that Honda and ended up buying a motor scooter. So I thought, okay, well, I'll buy a motor scooter. It gets really good gas mileage, but the problem was it only goes like 35 miles an hour, and that's if you don't have a headwind. And if you got a headwind, well, that just doesn't cut it, so you're really going slow. So I started looking, and I found this 2009 Honda Shadow Aero 750. Great bike. I'm really enjoying it. I bought some saddlebags for it, and I've been taking some trips, short trips, you know, hour to hour and a half around West Texas here. So I decided I was going to go ahead and start vlogging and kind of see what's interesting about some of the towns in this area. So we are headed north here on Highway 385, going out through. If you took this, you could take it all the way through on to Lubbock, Amarillo, I think, so far. But we're going to go on up here to Brownfield and see what we can see. First town that we're going to be coming up on when we get out of town, it's about 20 miles north of Seminole, is going to be Seagraves, okay? And we'll be talking a little bit about Seagraves. It's got some interesting history to it, and let's kind of see as we're looking here. As far as this area goes, it is definite. It's cotton, peanuts, and oil, okay? Cotton, peanuts, and oil. And they have a big production of cotton, big production of peanuts, and definitely a big production of oil. One of the new industries that's coming on too, as you will see as we get further on up, I believe outside of Tahoka, is going to be some windmills in between Brownfield and Tahoka. You've got some windmills. Well, the landscape is just flat as can be. We're about 3,500 feet above sea level out here in that. So as we're driving here to the little town of Tahoka and that, let me kind of give you a little information about it. So it's on the Highway 385 north, okay? It was named after James Gaines, okay, because it's in Gaines County. And Gaines was a signer of the Texas Declaration of Independence. The town itself was originally named Blythe, B-L-Y-T-H-E. Okay. It was the last end of a spur coming from the railroad from Lubbock, coming down Lubbock to Blythe. And the railroad actually had another town called Blythe, but that was in California. So they decided in 1917 that they would go ahead and change the name. So they changed the name to Seagraves. Okay. And in the mid 1930s, during the oil boom, the town was actually leveled by fire. So this little town here was devastated by fire in the 1930s. There's only a few buildings. One of them was the Simpson Hotel that survived that. And the population here is 28,000 plus or minus, depending on what time of year or during the fluctuation of oil and gas industry here. One of the things that is pretty cool is a little car shop or repair shop coming up here in Seagraves, and it has some really nice old cars that you're going to be able to see here. So if you're looking for a project to work on some old cars, this would be a nice place to try to acquire one of those project cars that you wanted to do. It doesn't have much more. It's flat. We have the grain silos there right by the railroad tracks. We're running along the railroad tracks right now. So it's a very small town. It's only about 1.4 quarter miles square. So you can tell it is very small here. So here we're coming up to that place I wanted to tell you about the old cars. Let's take a look at them. Okay, something that, it would be a fantasy right now, but one of the things that I've always thought about was, that'd really be cool to buy an old vehicle and kind of restore it, do the body work, do the engine work. It would really be nice, but it would be a big project. Something about myself when I was a teenager and that, growing up, my dad and I, of course I helped him, but we overhauled a couple of cars, always did the brake job, always did the car repairs as far as engine wise. Did a little bit of body work on it, but that was something I really enjoyed. And when my junior and senior year in high school, I took auto mechanics, did very well, thinking I was going to get into that as an adult, and then, life changes. So I got really involved in martial arts, and that ended up being, my career doing martial arts and that. But I was always interested. I wanted as a kid to be able to take a Volkswagen and tear it down and build a dune buggy. But of course my dad was always like, no, that's not practical and that. So, but never did it. That was like one of my first cars. I had a 1962 VW Bug and that. My older brother and I bought it. We paid $125 each for that vehicle. It was cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back onto the motorcycle, and we will kind of get out of here. That was B&T Auto in Seagraves. So if you're interested in restoring some old cars, they have some old junkers there that might be a terrific treasure for you. So we're back on the highway now, heading back up on 385. And still into the middle of the desert. By the way, if I would have done this trip last Monday, I would not be here doing the video, because we had like a Saudi Arabia desert storm. It was really bad. The dust was blowing. At one point in time we had clear skies, dust blowing where you couldn't see. We had raindrops coming and even hail. So it was a wild, wild day. But it got to the point, I wish I got out. It's like I didn't want to even get out to take a picture, but you couldn't even see across a highway like this. It was so thick with the sand and dust blowing from all these fields, these cotton fields and peanut fields that are lined along the road here. So it's about 30 miles or so up this road till we get to Brownfield. Brownfield's another small little town. And that, did I tell you about, let me see if I may. Okay, we got the people there, yep. So let's go on down here to Brownfield. Okay. Alright, so we're coming up on Brownfield. Brownfield's got a population of 9,525. That was 2019 census. Its elevation is 3,310 feet. And that it's the county seat of Terry, and it's a little bit bigger. So it's like 6.55 miles square. Okay, the median income, household income for Brownfield is $41,305, and its estimated housing value is $87,000. So the economics of Brownfield is #1 cotton oil production. They also have peanuts, and they have on the east side of town, as we go out, you'll see they have vineyards out there. Okay, grape vineyards and that. So they have winery, and so what I've read about the wine that is produced here in this area is it's average to poor quality of wine. I didn't stop and drink. I'm not into that right now. Well, I've never really been into that. So, but maybe we'll have to try it sometime when the winery's open and see what average to poor quality wine tastes like. So, but they say that further north, up south of Lubbock, there's also some vineyards up there, and their wine quality is much better. So it just might be the the farmers that are ranchers that are growing the wine, the grapes, and what their quality are. Well, we're rolling on into the Brownfield there. As you see, it's a small town, flat, it's spread out pretty good. I went through the downtown area, and that they had some cobblestone streets, but it wasn't that interesting. But some of the people in Brownfield are interesting. So some of the notable people that you might be interested in, we actually had a former executive assistant to the FBI. He was born in Brownfield. It was Ruben Garcia Jr. Okay. Another person, a country music singer out of Brownfield, was Gary P. Nunn. Gary P. Nunn. So if you're a Music City person or a country music person, you might be interested or have heard that name, know that person. Okay. How about sports? Ooh, yes, sports. We have a women's national basketball star that was actually born here in Brownfield. Do you know who it was? Cheryl Swoops. That's right, Cheryl Swoops was born here and went to high school. So that's some notable people that came out of Brownfield, so that's pretty interesting. So they have a little RV park as you're going in. It was to the right there. But and as we're coming in, gasoline is a little bit cheaper here in Brownfield than it is down south in Midland, Odessa, where they have the big oil executives. So you know, they're sticking it to those people. But gas here is a little bit cheaper, and that, so if you can wait till you get up here and get it, you see gas was $2.63 a gallon. And that, guess what? I need some gas. So let's go ahead. We're gonna park this thing and fill it up. One of the things that's happening is I need to replace my fuel switch, my petcock on my motorcycle. I did that already once, and now it's froze again. We are all gassed up, and we are ready to head back out on that highway. So getting back on 385, and we are going north just a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and turn east and head on down to Tahoka. So as we're going out of town, you will see there's a little park that we'll stop at, and they've got several ponds, about 26 acres or something like that, if I remember right, where they got a nice little park, not much grass, few trees out in that area. You'll see they got ducks, they got geese, and so forth. So it's pretty nice. Just if you're out there and wanting to chill, or if you're driving out this way and want a place to stop to kind of eat a lunch or a snack, so forth, something like that, this is a good place to do it and relax, stretch your legs if you're on your motorcycle, or if you're in a motorhome, SUV, and that just want to get out and try to rest just a little bit. So we're coming up on our turn here soon, and let's see what it's like. As we're riding here, just kind of, I was in my 20s, so I'm going to say maybe about 26 or 28, somewhere in there, was the last time that I had a motorcycle. It was a Yamaha 400. That thing just vibrated me to death. I didn't know much about motorcycles at the time, and I just bought something that my friend and I rode around town. I took a couple of trips to Austin, to the mountains in New Mexico, and we'll head up there as it gets a little bit warmer. But I tell you, I was beat. I wasn't ready for it. And first trip that I took is like, I didn't have gloves on. It was in summer, and the backs of my hands were sunburned so bad after that first trip. It was something else on a motorcycle. And then I sold it, and haven't rode a motorcycle in, I would say, 40 years. And here I am now on a motorcycle as my main transportation. So in the comments, go ahead and tell me, it's like, what drove you, or what made you decide to buy a motorcycle, and have you had one before and that, and now you're back on it again, or are you thinking about it? So I got a really good deal on this Honda that I'm riding now. I'm only paid about $2,500 for it, so I thought I got a pretty good deal with only 5,100 miles on it. So I'm looking forward to really enjoying it here. So we're headed east out of Brownsfield here, and we're slowly going to get up, past this light here. You'll see the ponds, and then a little further past that is the vineyards that I talked about earlier. as we were getting close to Brownfield and that. So pretty interesting, and especially knowing some that Cheryl Swoops used to grow up here, went to high school, and became a national star for the women's NBA. Here's the pond. We're going to kind of go in, turn on in. It's just kind of open. You got a gravel road right there, a little bit of a dip, and it goes down into it. So if you got a low tailgate or something like that, you got to be careful. You got a pond on the right, pond on the left, and then there's another pond back there. But this would be a good place just to, you know, hang loose and stretch your legs a little bit if you're on a trip. Feed the ducks or the geese if you wanted to. Be great for the kids. Nice little resting place. And then, of course, further on down the road, you got the vineyards. And you can do your wine tasting. So, again, they say it's average to poor quality, but I'm not a wine connoisseur, so I wouldn't know, even if I tasted it, if it was good or bad. So. It was a beautiful day for riding the bike. Now, it did get a little bit windier as I left Brownfield here and headed east. I was catching some little bit of gust every once in a while, but it was nice. It was really nice getting out. As you can see, you know, blue sky, a little bit of high clouds up there, and the temperature was, I'm going to say, mid 70s, so it was really nice. Let me see if I can show any of the geese or ducks right there. Let's go ahead and get back on the road and head on down to Tahoka, Texas. So, as you see, nice big old RV coming on in. Going to take advantage of this little park right outside of Brownsfield. We're going to get on the road. Let's go. I'm in the town of Tahoka, Texas. And this is just an old light gas station right here. Hopefully you can hear me with the wind blowing. But they got some really cool buildings here. Very, very old. Let's go take a look at them. And come back up this way. I love the cobblestone street. Look at that brick street there. Awesome. Walk down the middle of the street. Hopefully I won't get arrested. Big blue coin op. Laundry and dry cleaning. Bocalambro, that's a electric company. A lot of boarded up buildings. This one I think is really cool coming up here. This is on the main highway 380 that we're coming up. They've done some restoration, putting in looks like vinyl windows. But cool old building. Across the street is the Tahoka Pioneer Museum. I've never been in there. It's not open right now. But look at the side of the building there. Isn't that cool? They got a little cafe drive-through there. I don't know if it's Mexican food, ice cream. But it's the Oasis. Let's come on down here. Continue our walk back to the main street. Again, there's the little gas station I pulled under. Old building. Tahoka has a little bit of history to it. There was a let's see, this is the cake place. There. And there's the square, the courthouse. Nice old building across there. Again, loving the cobblestone street. Across from the courthouse. And this used to be an old drugstore. Now a fitness center, rehab. There's the old downtown area right there. Some of it has been remodeled. Some of it has been remodeled, some not. Nice old buildings. This is in Lynn County, Texas. Beautiful eagle, flags. I just love the architecture of these old buildings. Another drugstore gone under. It's the old West Texas town, Tahoka, Texas, in Lynn County. West Texas at its finest. Look at that. Showing stairs that used to go from the outside up. No longer there. Nice old building. Trees starting to blossom. Yes. So come on out to Tahoka, Texas. If you're wanting to look at some old West Texas towns, this is one of them. Nice old courthouse. Let's take a walk. Better hurry so I don't get run over. Old pecan trees out in front, or the back, whichever one this is. This was built in 1916. Looks like there's the jail with the bars on it. So you got a basement, could be 1, 2, 3, 4 stories. (1916). Cool. Tahoka was made the county seat of Lynn County, I believe it is, right? And in 1903. Okay. There's some really interesting things about this. There was, excuse the noise, but Tahoka is an Indian name, and it means fresh water or deep water. And that there are some notable people that came out of Tahoka. James Gill, who is an artist, and his high school teacher tried to encourage him to work with his passion. And he lived during that time when he just kind of, during the Vietnam War, and his artwork was very political, I would say, in some of the stuff, but very, very famous artist. And he has, he sold in many famous galleries and has his artwork in some museums. That was James Gill, came out of Tahoka. And then there is a football player. Okay, so we have an NFL football player that was 7th round draft pick in 1952. And he was drafted by the New York Giants, and that played 4 seasons on the Green Bay Packers and 1 season in the San Francisco 49ers. So we got a famous football player from the NFL that was born and raised in Tahoka, Texas. And that. Well, this kind of wraps it up for our Tahoka, Texas vlog. I went pretty long. I wasn't expecting to go quite this long, but I hope you enjoyed it. There are some other history facts that I'll try to cut real short here. There was a group from the African American Cavalry, and that this was after the Civil War that went out after Comanche Indians, and that happened in the late 1800s, I believe it was, and some of them died. The Apaches led them away from water as they were chasing them, and their horses died. They ran out of food and water. Some of them made it back. Some passed away after they made it back, and that. But that was a historic moment for Tahoka, Texas.